Today, I'd like to speak on, there's opportunities in the market space, in the equity market in particular. And that presentation by Kalila spoke much about entrepreneurship, investments, and taking a little bit of risk. Well, the market's a little bit risky now in the sense that interest rate is high and therefore prices of securities have fallen. Shorter term instruments now, newly issued instruments are doing well because they're paying the higher interest rate. Those older instruments that were structured in the lower interest rate regime, those prices are falling off, especially if they were fixed because they're paying a lower coupon than most recently issued instruments. So all asset prices are falling off, but there's still opportunities in the marketplace. Particularly, just recently, a new company was listed by invitation, AS Bryden Holdings Limited. It's a company incorporated in Trinidad. Most of its business is based, that is its revenue generating, is generated from, earnings come from Trinidad, the Trinidadian market. It also has a presence in Guyana as well as Barbados. Now, what is AS Bryden? It has several subsidiaries. It's largely a company that retails and markets various brands, international brands as well as own brands. Right? It is largely in the food business, motor vehicle. It is also in transportation and broadly, and it also retails and sells machinery, lubricants, and other type of equipment of that sort. Right? So it has tremendous opportunity. It was recently listed in Jamaica on the Jamaican Stock Exchange at a price of $22.50 Jamaican. Some of the basic metrics of this company. Well, let me do a quick thing. It distributes food, pharmaceutical, hardware, household, and industrial equipment through several of its subsidiaries. That's about 3 or 4 main subsidiary companies that it does this business through. It has ownership stake in several other entities. Its presence is largely in Trinidad, where it earns about 95% of its revenue, and also Guyana and Barbados. It has listed in Jamaica because there's a tremendous opportunity for that company in Jamaica here. Now, when it came public at a price of, in Jamaica, just last Friday at a price of $22.50. By the close of trading, it had gained over 31% in value. That is the value that the market has placed on. For 2 reasons, the company intrinsically has good value. That is when you look at the financial statement and do your analysis, when you look at the potential projected growth in revenue, you'd kind of value the company going forward. The market thought that it had value and they were willing to pay more than the $22.50 it was listed at. So it traded as high as $29 plus, over 31% above. It has more or less maintained that price, that value. It has fallen off just a little bit yesterday, Monday, to about $28.99, and it has maintained that price today. But we expected that to happen. When it came public at an earnings per share of $2.23. That is tremendously good, right? When compared to the general Jamaican market. It came public at a price, PE, price over earnings per share, PE ratio of 10.2 times. What does that mean? P, you're paying 10.2 times or $10.20 for every $1 profit. You're paying $10.20 for each share for every $1 profit generated by that same share. Okay, so a PE of 10.4. When the average market on the Jamaican Stock Exchange, in the main market, the average PE was 11.14 times. So it was cheaper than the average stock on the Jamaican market. Right? And there are other metrics. The target price based on our one analyst was almost $27. The market has put further premium on that. Right now it has traded at 29. It may fall off a little bit, but nonetheless, I do not expect it to fall back to the $22.50 that it was listed at, because the market sees value in it for the prospective growth as well as for the relative scarcity of the stock, because they didn't issue shares, they simply listed it, and existing shareholders who already had it, they were the one who placed some on the market to sell. So those transactions generated, an increased price on the stock. What is this? The company? The significant owner in AS Bryden, it's a conglomerate. The significant owner in AS Bryden is Seprod. It is also related to the Musson Group, which is a broad, significant, large, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that operates throughout the Caribbean, Latin America, North America, and it has presence in Europe. Okay, that's a Muslim group. So it is part of that group. It is largely owned by Seprod. There's a great amount of synergy that AS Bryden expects to get from being listed on the Jamaican market. The first synergy is one, the relationship with Seprod and the sharing of technology and know-how, the leadership that Seprod will bring in terms of its manufacturing expertise and to explore additional opportunities in Jamaica. That's one of the reasons it comes to Jamaica, right? And again, as I said, Seprod is I think a 54% ownership in AS Bryden, a majority ownership. Right? Now, also being in Jamaica, they expect to gain further, drive revenue to establish further business and presence in Guyana, where now it earns about 3% of its revenue. With the discovery of hydrocarbon in Guyana as well as Suriname, then they hope to take advantage of that. And again, being listed, that partnership with Seprod and other entities, the ability, that could generate further, give it kind of that push to explore that market. Its corporate strategy is on the expansion of opportunities by building newer markets and for efficiency and improvement of operations, right? Increase the market share and investing in technology and to boost their competitive advantage. Their dividend policy, they intend to allocate or distribute approximately 40% of the company's net profit. Of course, that's their dividend policy, but it is still subject to various other things that may happen. The market is fluctuating, and so they have to make decisions in the interest of the long-term sustainability of the company. But all being well, they will distribute 40% of net profit to existing shareholders. Some of the other benefits that they hope to get by listing on the Jamaican market is exposure to a wider shareholder base. That augurs well for any company. The potential for expanded market share for revenue growth. That is in the Jamaican market space where, as I've said before, the majority of their revenue presently is earned in Trinidad. A small fraction in Guyana and Barbados, not much. So Jamaica is a potential marketplace. And I think, again, having Seprod as a significant parent company and the technology, the expertise, the knowledge of the domestic market, the access to capital, that should help them tremendously in exploring and, growing its value throughout the Caribbean. Also, there's a building of synergy with the domestic capital market in order to raise capital. And that is one of the primary reasons many companies become public. Right? So all in all, it's competitive. What companies on the local stock exchange are closer in terms of the business lines? Well, there's Massey, which of course is primarily domiciled in Trinidad, but it's cross-listed across the 3 major markets in the region. There's also Seprod, its parent company. To a lesser extent, I would say GK. Further lesser extent, there are some other companies that are into the retail, processing, distributorship, merchandising business. But largely I would say Massey and perhaps Seprod and maybe Grace are like entities. Right? So those are comparative good comparison in terms of where do you allocate and how do you allocate your investable funds. Right? It also has intention. It is a private entity just listed on the previously a private entity just listed on the Jamaican Stock Exchange, so it's now a public traded entity. It also hopes or wishes or say they have intention of listing on the Trinidad Stock Exchange. That presents a brand new opportunity. The opportunity, we have spoken about that before, that being listed on the Jamaican Stock Exchange and the Trinidad market, sometimes the Bayesian market also, presents new opportunities. You can now move same shares, from one jurisdiction into the next jurisdiction to sell. For example, you want Trinidadian dollars, you want to buy some Trinidadian stock, you can buy the stock here in Jamaica, AS Bryden or any other cross-listed securities, move the shares to Trinidad on the Trinidad Stock Exchange and sell them there, then you can buy Trinidad stock. That's one. 2, if you want to take advantage of price disparities for various reasons, the same company, same security may trade at different prices in the both markets. Anything can cause that. Monetary policy, fiscal policies, liquidity in both markets, the structure of both markets can cause this price disparity. Quite a few times, like now, quite a few of the cross-listed securities are trading at a premium in Trinidad. So you can buy them in Jamaica, send them where prices are fairly stable or perhaps declining, buy them in Jamaica, send them to Trinidad and sell them at a premium and get your gain. Of course, there's always some consideration, which is currency exchange rate. Can you convert from TT dollars back into Jamaican or via US back into Jamaican? That is always will be another consideration. Of course, to move shares from one market to the next, there's a minimum JSE $40 fee. So you would want to know that the volume you are purchasing is sufficient to cover the per unit cost of moving those shares. That is that $40 minimum fee that the JSE charges you. You'd want to spread it across a larger volume to make it feasible. If you buy $40 and you buy 40 units of stock, you have a fee of, well, that is $1 per stock unit, US dollar, to move it. If you buy 2,000, you have minimized that cost. But that is the opportunity presented for cross-listed securities. So let me quickly run into this and say AS Bryden and Sons Holding Limited. It trades as ASBH in Jamaica. It is listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. You go on to Moneyline, you will see the ticker code. You can purchase that stock, or the analysis, speak with the broker, ask them, is it recommended to buy now? Do I hold? Do I wait? How much do I buy? When is my entry point? But that stock is now available. And it seemed to be a solid company, a strong company that has good potential for growth, right? And there's tremendous opportunities for the company as well as for the investor base. That again gives us another opportunity, somewhere to put our fund, somewhere to generate wealth, and somewhere to to generate even cash flow in terms of dividend payment.